My beloved child, come close to me for a moment. Let the noise around you grow quiet. Let your heart rest, if only for these few moments. I know this season has not been easy for you. There have been days when you smiled so others would not see how tired you truly were. There have been nights when sleep refused to come because your thoughts would not stop racing. You have carried burdens that no one else fully understands. You have tried to stay strong. You have tried to keep believing. You have tried to keep moving forward even when every step felt heavier than the last. And perhaps, somewhere deep inside, a question has begun to whisper to your heart. Lord, are you still with me? My precious child, I have heard every one of those silent questions. Not once have they escaped my attention. Not once have your tears fallen without me seeing them. Not once have your trembling heart gone unnoticed. Even when you could not feel my presence, I was there. Even when circumstances seemed to tell you that I had forgotten you, I had not moved an inch away from your side. The world will always try to convince you that fear has the final word. It will show you uncertainty. It will remind you of what you have lost. It will magnify everything that seems impossible. But I have not come today to speak the language of fear. I have come to remind you of something that your weary heart desperately needs to remember. There is one truth that can calm every anxious thought. One truth that can steady your shaking soul. One truth that can remain firm even when everything around you seems to change. Hold on for just a little longer. Keep listening, because if this single truth takes root in your heart, you will begin to see everything differently. Not because your circumstances immediately change, but because your heart will. My beloved child, the answer is simpler than you have imagined. Place your faith in me. These are not merely words. They are the foundation upon which peace is built. You have spent so much time trying to understand every detail before taking another step. You have searched for certainty in tomorrow. You have looked for guarantees from people. You have waited for visible signs before allowing yourself to hope again. But faith has never begun with seeing. Faith begins with trusting. Before the sunrise appears, the dawn is already on its way. Before the seed breaks through the ground, life is already growing beneath the soil. Before the answer reaches your hands, I have already begun working in ways your eyes cannot yet perceive. Do not mistake my silence for my absence. Do not mistake waiting for abandonment. I am never idle. While you are wondering what comes next, I am already preparing the path ahead of you. While you are worrying about tomorrow, I am already standing in your tomorrow. Nothing that concerns you is too small for my attention. Nothing that burdens your heart is insignificant to me. I know every fear you have tried to hide. I know every disappointment you have carried alone. I know the dreams you have quietly stopped talking about because you were afraid they would never come to pass. Yet I have not forgotten a single one. My plans for you have not disappeared because your hope became weak. My promises have not changed because your strength has faded. My love has not grown smaller because your faith has struggled. I remain the same. Yesterday, today, and forever. So, before this day carries you into another wave of responsibilities, before fear begins speaking louder than hope, before doubt tries once again to settle into your thoughts, I ask you to do only one thing. Do not carry everything by yourself anymore. Bring your heart to me. Bring your questions to me. Bring your weariness to me. Bring your fears to me. And above all, place your faith in me. Not because you understand everything, not because you can already see the outcome, but because I have never stopped holding you, even when you could not feel my hands. Stay close to me, my child. Listen to my voice more than you listen to your fears. And let this simple truth remain with you today. Place your faith in me, my beloved child. There is something I want you to understand today. You have often believed that your greatest struggle is the problem standing in front of you. But it is not. The greatest battle has always taken place within your own heart. It is the quiet battle between faith and fear, between hope and discouragement, between my voice and every other voice that surrounds you. I know how easily those voices begin to multiply. One disappointment becomes another. One unanswered prayer leads to another question. One difficult season stretches longer than you expected. Little by little, your confidence begins to weaken. Not because you stopped loving me, but because you became tired of waiting. I understand that feeling. I have watched you wake up hoping today would finally be different. I have seen you pray with sincerity. I have seen you believe with all the strength you had. Then another day passed, another week, another month, and still, some of the things you longed for remained beyond your reach. So your heart quietly asked, maybe I have been forgotten, my precious child. What if my silence was never abandonment? What if I was closer than you realized during those very moments when you felt alone? You measure my presence by what you can feel, but I measure my faithfulness by who I am, and I do not change. Clouds may hide the sun for a while, yet the sun never stops shining. In the same way, your emotions may hide my presence from your awareness, but they can never remove my presence from your life. I have remained beside you through every uncertain step. When you cried without words, I understood. When you smiled while hiding your pain, I saw through it. When you questioned yourself, I never questioned my love for you. Do not allow temporary circumstances to become permanent conclusions. Just because you cannot see the entire path does not mean I have stopped leading you. Just because you do not understand my timing does not mean I have forgotten my promises. You have spent so much energy trying to figure everything out, trying to predict tomorrow, trying to protect yourself from future pain, trying to prepare for every possible disappointment. But fear will always demand more answers than life can give. Faith asks for something different. Faith asks you to trust the one who already knows the end from the beginning. You do not need to carry tomorrow before it arrives. You only need enough grace for today, and I am giving it to you now. Come closer. Listen carefully. There are moments when I gently remove the things you depended on so your heart can discover that I have been the one sustaining you all along. Not to hurt you, never to punish you, but to free you from placing your security in things that cannot remain forever. People may disappoint you. Circumstances may change. Plans may fail. Even your own strength will rise and fall. But my love does not fade. My promises do not weaken. My hands do not grow tired. You do not have to earn my attention. You already have it. You do not have to prove that you are worthy of my care. You are already my beloved child. When you stumble, I do not walk away. When you become discouraged, I do not grow impatient. When your faith becomes small, I do not love you less. Instead, I draw even closer. I whisper instead of shouting. I wait instead of abandoning. I strengthen instead of condemning. That is who I have always been. So today, stop measuring my love by your circumstances. Measure it by my unchanging heart. Measure it by every time I carried you when you thought you were walking alone. Measure it by every unseen danger from which I protected you. Measure it by the peace that quietly returns whenever you choose to rest in my presence, my beloved child. You do not need to understand every reason before you trust me. You only need to remember who is speaking to you. I am the one who has never failed you, the one who has never stopped loving you, the one who is still writing a beautiful future for your life, even when you cannot yet read the next page. So let your heart become still once again. Release the questions that have become too heavy to carry. Lay down the fear that has stolen your rest, and choose, once more, to place your faith in me, my beloved child. There are many things happening around you that you can see. There are also many things happening for you that you cannot. The unseen has always been where I do my greatest work. Before a flower blooms, its roots grow in silence. Before the morning light fills the sky, the horizon is still wrapped in darkness. Before a river reaches the sea, it travels through places hidden from human eyes. Not everything that is real can be seen. Not everything that is valuable announces its arrival. In the same way, I have been working long before you noticed any change. I have already gone before you. Long before you whispered your prayer, I knew the longing in your heart. Long before you shed your tears, I understood the pain behind them. Long before you wondered how everything would turn out, I had already begun preparing what lies ahead. You often think, my work begins when you finally see an answer, but my work begins much earlier. It begins in places your eyes cannot reach. There have been moments when I redirected your path without you realizing it. A conversation that never happened. A door that quietly remained closed. A delay that frustrated you. A plan that suddenly changed. You wondered why. You searched for an explanation. Perhaps you even believed something precious had been taken away from you. But, my child, there are blessings that first arrive disguised as interruptions. There are victories that begin with waiting. There are answers that can only grow during seasons of silence. If I revealed everything I was doing, there would be no room for faith. You would walk by sight alone. But I created your heart for something greater than certainty. I created it to trust me. I know how difficult that can feel. You live in a world that constantly asks for proof. People want evidence before they believe. They want guarantees before they move forward. They want complete understanding before taking the next step. But my kingdom has never worked that way. Faith is not the reward for seeing. Faith is the courage to keep walking while I hold the light for the next step. You do not need to know every detail of tomorrow. You only need to know that I will be there when tomorrow arrives. Think about all the times I have already carried you. There were seasons you believed you would never survive, yet here you are. There were burdens that seemed impossible to bear, yet somehow, strength appeared when your own had run out. There were answers that arrived in ways you never expected. Looking back now, you can see my fingerprints where you once saw only confusion. The same will be true again. One day, you will look at this season and understand that my hand never left your life. You will see how every delay protected you, how every closed door redirected you, how every unanswered question kept your eyes fixed on me instead of the world. Until that day comes, do not become discouraged by what you cannot yet understand. Do not believe that silence means I have stopped speaking. Sometimes, my quietness is simply an invitation for you to come closer, to listen more deeply, to rest more completely, to discover that my presence is enough before my promises become visible. Walk with me. Do not rush ahead because fear tells you that you are running out of time. Do not remain frozen because uncertainty whispers that nothing will ever change. Take the step I place before you today. Leave tomorrow in my hands. That is where it has always been safest. And as you continue this journey with me, you will discover that the greatest miracles are not only the ones that change your circumstances, they are the ones that quietly transform your heart while you are waiting. My beloved child, there have been moments when you looked at your life and wondered why certain doors never opened. You prayed, you hoped, you waited, yet nothing seemed to happen. Perhaps you believed I had ignored your request. Perhaps you thought I had forgotten what you asked of me. But, my child, not every closed door is a sign of rejection. Sometimes it is the greatest expression of my love. You call it delay. I call it protection. There are roads I did not allow you to travel because I could already see where they would lead. There are opportunities I quietly removed because they carried burdens you were never meant to bear. There are relationships that ended, not because I wished to wound your heart, but because I desired to preserve it. You could only see the present moment. I could see every tomorrow that would follow, so I chose what would keep you closest to life. You often ask me to bless your plans, but sometimes my blessing comes by changing them. I know that can be difficult to accept, especially when your heart has become attached to a certain outcome. You imagine that happiness can only arrive in one particular way. You believe peace depends on one specific answer. But my wisdom reaches far beyond what your eyes can presently see. I never remove something valuable from your life without already preparing something better for your future, even when that future is still hidden from you. Think about the shepherd who gently guides his sheep. The sheep may not understand why it is being led away from one path and toward another. It cannot see the danger waiting beyond the next hill. It only knows that its direction has changed, yet the shepherd knows exactly where safety is found. In the same way, there have been countless dangers from which I have quietly protected you. Some were visible, many were not. You will never know how many moments my angels stood beside you, how many times my hand redirected events before they reached you, how many storms lost their strength before arriving at your door. Protection is not always dramatic. Very often, it is silent. It is found in the ordinary moments you rarely notice. The journey that took a little longer, the conversation that never happened, the invitation you did not receive, the decision you postponed, the unexpected change that seemed inconvenient at first. You may remember those moments with disappointment. I remember them with love, because I know what they kept you from. Do not believe that every obstacle is an enemy. Sometimes an obstacle is my gentle hand saying, "Not this way, my child." I have never enjoyed seeing you confused. I have never desired for you to feel lost. But there are lessons that can only be learned when you choose to trust my heart instead of your own understanding. That is how faith grows. Not when every answer is explained, but when love becomes stronger than uncertainty. Trust my timing. There is a reason I do not reveal every chapter of your story all at once. If you saw everything today, you might try to carry burdens that belong to another season. You might become distracted by tomorrow and overlook the grace I have prepared for today. So I give you enough light for the step before you, then another, until one day you realize that I have guided you farther than you ever thought possible. Do not hurry. My work, fruit ripens in its proper season. The sunrise arrives at its appointed hour. The river reaches the sea without rushing. Everything I create follows a perfect rhythm. Your life is no different. You are not falling behind. You are not forgotten. You are not wandering outside my care. Even now, while you wonder why certain prayers remain unanswered, I am arranging details you cannot yet imagine. Every piece is moving into its proper place. Nothing is wasted. Not your waiting, not your tears, not your obedience, not even the moments that seemed empty. One day you will look back with quiet gratitude. You will see that my hand was gently leading you all along, and your heart will finally understand that what once felt like a closed door was actually the path that brought you safely into the future I had lovingly prepared for you. My beloved child, there is something hidden beneath many of your fears, something deeper than the worries you speak about, something quieter than the thoughts that keep you awake at night. It is the pain you have carried for far too long. Not every wound can be seen. Some remain hidden behind a smile. Some are buried beneath years of pretending that everything is fine. Some have become so familiar that you no longer realize they are still there. But I know. I have always known. I remember the moments that changed your heart, the words that stayed with you long after they were spoken, the promises that were broken, the trust that was misplaced, the love that was not returned, the kindness that was taken for granted. Little by little, your heart began to protect itself. You became more cautious, more hesitant, more afraid of hoping again. You told yourself that expecting less would hurt less. You believed that keeping your heart guarded would keep it safe. But my child, a heart that never opens cannot receive healing. I am healing the place no one else can reach, not the part of you that people see, the part that only you and I know, the place where disappointment still whispers, the place where old memories still echo, the place where fear quietly tells you that history will repeat itself. Come closer. Do not hide those places from me. You do not need to pretend that you are stronger than you feel. You do not need to convince me that you have already moved on. I know exactly where your heart still aches, and I do not turn away from it. I move toward it. Many people have tried to tell you to simply forget, to move on, to stop thinking about the past. But healing is not pretending the wound never existed. Healing is allowing my love to touch what has been hurting all along. I do not ask you to erase your memories. I ask you to release their power over your future. The past no longer has permission to decide who you become. Those who misunderstood you do not define your worth. Those who rejected you do not determine your value. Those who walked away did not take away the purpose I placed within you. Your identity has never depended on the opinions of people. It has always rested in my love. When I look at you, I do not see someone beyond repair. I do not see someone who has been ruined by disappointment. I see my beloved child, still precious, still chosen, still deeply loved. Nothing that happened to you has changed the way I see you. Nothing. Not your failures, not your fears, not the moments when you questioned me. not even the times when your faith became weak. My love has never been measured by your strength. It has always flowed from my heart. So stop believing that you must become completely healed before you come to me. Come exactly as you are. Bring your tired heart. Bring your unanswered questions. Bring the memories you still struggle to release. Bring the tears you have hidden from everyone else. There is no shame in being wounded. The only tragedy is trying to heal without me. Give me your heart. Not because I wish to take something from you, but because I want to give it back to you lighter than before, freer than before, able to hope again, able to trust again, able to love again without fear becoming its master. Day by day, I am restoring what pain tried to steal. Not all at once, not through force, but gently, patiently. The way the morning light slowly replaces the darkness, one quiet moment at a time, one peaceful breath at a time, one reminder of my love after another. You may not notice every change today, but your heart is no longer standing where it once was. It is becoming softer, stronger, more at peace. And one day, without even realizing when it happened, you will discover that the place which once held your deepest pain has quietly become the place where my love shines the brightest. My beloved child, there is a gift I long to place within your heart. Many people search for it in the wrong places. They believe they will finally find it when life becomes easier, when the bills are paid, when the diagnosis changes, when the relationship is restored, when every unanswered question finally receives an answer. Then, they think, peace will come. But my child, that is not the peace I give. The peace of this world depends on circumstances. My peace does not. Peace is my first gift. Before I change what is around you, I begin changing what is within you. Because if your heart learns to rest in me, no storm will be able to steal what I have planted there. Look at the sea. The surface may be restless. The waves may rise. The wind may roar. Yet deep beneath the surface, there is stillness. That is how I desire your heart to become, not untouched by difficulty, but anchored beneath it. There will always be voices trying to disturb your peace. Some will come from the world, some will come from your memories, some will come from your own fears. They will tell you to panic, to hurry, to assume the worst, to carry tomorrow before it arrives. But I am not the author of confusion. When I speak, my voice does not drive you into fear. It gently leads you back to rest. You have spent so much of your life trying to control what was never yours to control. You have replayed conversations that have already ended. You have imagined situations that never happened. You have carried burdens that belonged to another day. And little by little, your soul became exhausted. Come, my child. You do not have to live that way any longer. Lay those burdens down, not because they are imaginary. They are real. Your concerns are real. Your responsibilities are real. Your struggles are real. I do not ask you to pretend they do not exist. I simply ask you not to carry them alone. There is a difference. When you place your burdens into my hands, they do not suddenly disappear, but they no longer crush your heart, because I begin carrying the weight with you. That is why my peace feels different. It is not the absence of problems. It is the assurance that you are no longer facing them by yourself. Rest in me. There is no shame in slowing down. There is no weakness in being still. Even the earth follows the rhythm I created. Day gives way to night. The seasons change without striving. The flowers do not rush to bloom. The trees are not anxious because winter comes before spring. Everything I have made knows how to wait for the proper time. You too can rest in the rhythm of my love. You do not have to force open every door. You do not have to solve every mystery today. You do not have to fear that. My plans will fail if you pause long enough to breathe. Nothing can interrupt what I have already prepared for you. Nothing can steal what I have chosen to place into your life. My timing does not become uncertain because your heart feels uncertain. I remain faithful. Always. So when anxiety begins knocking at your thoughts once again, do not answer the door. Instead, come into my presence. Speak with me. Sit quietly with me. Let your breathing become slower. Let your restless mind become still. You do not always need many words. Sometimes all you need is to remember that I am here, closer than your next breath, nearer than your next heartbeat, holding you with the same love that has never changed. As you remain with me, you will begin to notice something beautiful. The circumstances around you may not have changed overnight, yet your heart no longer reacts as it once did. Fear no longer speaks with the same authority. Worry no longer occupies every corner of your mind. Hope quietly returns, not because everything has become easy, but because my presence has become more real than your uncertainty. And in that quiet place, where your soul is no longer striving to carry what belongs to me, you will discover a gentle stillness that the world can never give and can never take away. My beloved child, there is something I want your heart to remember whenever doubt begins to speak louder than hope. My promises do not change. They do not become weaker because your circumstances become more difficult. They do not disappear because you have waited longer than you expected. They do not lose their power because your faith feels small. Nothing changes, my promise. People often make promises they sincerely want to keep, yet time changes them, circumstances change them, fear changes them. Their strength has limits. Their understanding has limits. Sometimes they disappoint you, not because they intended to, but because they simply could not do what they promised. But I am not like the world. I do not speak empty words. I do not awaken hope only to leave you discouraged. When I speak, my words carry life. When I promise, my faithfulness stands behind every promise. You may not always understand the way I fulfill my word. It may not happen when you expect. It may not happen in the form you imagined. But my promises never return empty. There were days when you believed your future had become smaller. I saw something much greater. There were moments when you thought everything was ending. I knew I was preparing a new beginning. There were seasons when you believed you had lost too much to recover. I never stopped seeing the fullness of what still remained ahead of you. That is why I ask you not to judge your story too early. You have read only a few pages. I already see the final chapter. Do not allow today's uncertainty to rewrite tomorrow's hope. My child, you often ask me for signs. You look around, hoping something outside of you will convince your heart to believe again. But I have already given you something greater. I have given you my word. The world changes with every passing day. Opinions change. Emotions rise and fall. Even your own thoughts can shift from one morning to the next. Yet my word remains steady. It does not tremble when the winds become strong. It does not retreat when darkness seems overwhelming. It stands, just as I stand. You do not have to wonder whether I still love you today. You do not have to question whether I have become tired of hearing your prayers. You do not have to fear that I have chosen someone else over you. My heart has never been divided. The love I have for you today is not less than it was yesterday, nor will it be less tomorrow. I know there are moments when your own heart struggles to believe that, especially after disappointment, especially after waiting, especially when life seems quieter than you hoped it would be. But my faithfulness has never depended on your feelings. It has always depended on my nature, and I cannot deny who I am. I am still your shepherd when the path becomes unfamiliar. I am still your father when you feel alone. I am still your refuge when fear surrounds you. I am still your strength when your own strength begins to fail. I am still your peace when your thoughts become restless. And I am still preparing blessings that have not yet reached your hands. Remember my words, not because repeating them changes me, but because remembering them changes you. The more your heart rests upon my promises, the less room fear has to grow. The more you meditate on my love, the quieter the voice of anxiety becomes. The more you choose to believe what I have spoken, the less power uncertainty has over your mind. Let my promises become the place where your thoughts return whenever life feels uncertain. Return to them in the morning. Return to them before you sleep. Return to them whenever discouragement whispers that nothing will ever change. One day, you will realize that it was not your own strength that carried you through every difficult season. It was the quiet certainty that my word could be trusted, even before your eyes were able to see what I had been preparing all along. My beloved child, There is a reason your heart grows weary so quickly. You have been looking at too many things that were never meant to carry your hope. You look at the news. You look at the uncertainty around you. You look at the opinions of others. You look at what you have lost. You look at how much farther you think you still have to go. And before you realize it, your heart becomes heavy, not because you have stopped believing in me, but because your eyes have slowly drifted away from me. The world changes. I do not. The world celebrates one thing today and forgets it tomorrow. People make promises and then change their minds. Feelings rise with the morning and fade before nightfall. Strength comes and goes. Health changes. Seasons change. Opportunities appear and disappear. Nothing here remains the same forever. That is why I never asked you to build your confidence upon the things of this world. They were never designed to carry the weight of your soul. Only I can do that. When Peter looked at the wind, he began to sink. When he looked back to me, he found the hand that lifted him. My child, your heart behaves the same way. Whatever fills your attention eventually shapes your peace. If fear becomes your constant companion, anxiety will begin to feel normal. If disappointment becomes your focus, hope will slowly disappear. If uncertainty becomes your guide, every decision will seem frightening. But when your eyes remain upon me, something beautiful begins to happen. The storm may still exist, yet it no longer becomes the center of your attention. You begin to remember who walks with you through it. There have always been storms. There always will be. I never promised a life without them. I promised that you would never face them alone. That promise still stands today. Do not allow temporary headlines to become permanent truths in your heart. Do not allow another person's fear to become your own. Do not let the voices around you become louder than mine. Listen carefully. Every morning the world will try to give you a new reason to worry. It will tell you to prepare for the worst, to expect disappointment, to protect yourself from hope. But every morning, my voice remains the same. I still call you my beloved child. I still watch over you. I still provide what you need. I still prepare the path before you. I still hold your future safely in my hands. None of that has changed, and it never will. Keep your eyes on me, not only when life feels peaceful. Keep them on me when everything seems uncertain, when answers take longer than expected, when prayers feel quiet, when your strength seems smaller than yesterday. Those are the moments when your faith grows the deepest. Anyone can believe when everything makes sense, but there is a beautiful trust that is born when your heart chooses to rest in me without having every answer. That trust becomes an anchor. It keeps your soul steady while everything else is shifting. Remember this, my child. The circumstances around you are always changing, but they are not writing your future. I am. The opinions of people may rise against you. They are not deciding your purpose. I am. Time itself continues to move forward, yet my love never grows older, never becomes weaker, never becomes distant. The same hands that have carried you until today will continue to carry you tomorrow. The same voice that comforted you in yesterday's sorrow will speak again when a new morning comes. The same grace that sustained you in seasons you thought you could never survive will not suddenly disappear, because I do not change. And because I do not change, you do not have to fear every change around you. Lift your eyes above the uncertainty, above the disappointment, above the questions that still remain unanswered. There is a peace that can only be found when your gaze is no longer fixed on the waves, but on the one who has been standing beside you through every one of them, patiently waiting for you to discover that his presence has always been more constant than the storm. My beloved child, there is one invitation I extend to you every single day, not because I need your company, but because you need mine. Before the world begins asking something from you, come to me. Before your responsibilities fill your thoughts, come to me. Before fear has the chance to speak, come to me. Meet me before you meet the world. So many people begin their day carrying burdens they have not yet placed into my hands. Before they have spoken one word to me, they have already listened to countless other voices. The voices of worry, the voices of comparison, the voices of hurried expectations, the voices that quietly tell them they are not enough. Their hearts become tired before the day has truly begun. That is not how I desire you to live. I have always desired something much simpler, to be the first voice your heart recognizes each morning, not because I demand your attention, but because I know what my presence does for your soul. When you spend time with me, I am not measuring how many words you speak. I am not counting how long you remain silent. I am not waiting for a perfect prayer. I already know your heart before you open your mouth. I simply delight in being with you. Just as a loving father treasures the quiet moments shared with his child, I treasure every moment you choose to spend with me. Some mornings, your words may come easily. Other mornings, all you can offer is silence. Both are precious to me. There are days when your heart overflows with gratitude. There are other days when you barely know what to say. You wonder if your prayer is enough. My child, your sincerity has always mattered more than your eloquence. One honest whisper reaches my heart more deeply than 1,000 empty words. Do not think you must come to me only after you have gathered yourself together. Come while your thoughts are still scattered. Come while your questions remain unanswered. Come while your faith still feels fragile. Come while your heart is still learning to rest. I am not waiting for a stronger version of you. I welcome the one who is here today, the one who is still healing, the one who is still growing, the one who still needs my hand. Talk with me today. Tell me about the things no one else understands. Tell me what made your heart heavy. Tell me what frightened you. Tell me what gave you hope. Nothing is too small for my attention. Nothing is too ordinary for my love. When you sit quietly with me, something begins to change within you. Not because I suddenly become closer. I have always been close. It is because your heart finally becomes still enough to notice my presence. You begin to hear my peace beneath the noise. You begin to recognize my guidance beneath your own anxious thoughts. You begin to feel my love where fear once tried to make its home. Do not think that every meeting with me must be extraordinary. Many of the deepest moments we share will seem wonderfully ordinary. A quiet morning, a peaceful breath, a few moments of stillness, a heart that slowly remembers it is not alone. These moments may appear small to the world, but they shape your spirit in ways you cannot yet see. Little by little, they become the place where your faith grows strong without striving, where hope returns without being forced, where joy quietly rises again. And before you even realize it, the conversations we share in those quiet moments will begin to accompany you throughout the rest of your day. When uncertainty appears, my words will gently return to your heart. When fear tries to interrupt your peace, you will remember my nearness. When the path ahead seems unclear, you will no longer feel as though you are walking alone, because the time you spend in my presence is never left behind. It walks beside you. It strengthens your thoughts. It softens your heart. It reminds you, again and again, that wherever this day may lead, there is always a place where you can return and find me waiting with the same patient love that has welcomed you from the very beginning. My beloved child, if there is one thing I desire you to carry with you after today, it is not a feeling. Feelings come and go. Some mornings you will wake with confidence. Other mornings you may wake with questions. Some days your heart will feel light. Other days the weight of life may seem heavier than you expected. Do not measure my presence by what you feel. Measure it by who I have always been. I have never changed. I have walked beside you through every season of your life. I was with you before you knew how to call upon my name. I was with you when your faith was strong. I remained with you when your faith became weary. I was there when you celebrated. I was there when you wept. I was there in the moments you clearly recognized my hand. And I was still there in the moments when you wondered if I had become silent. Nothing has ever separated you from my love. Not your fears, not your failures, not your waiting, not your unanswered questions, not even the moments when you struggled to believe. My love has never depended on your ability to hold on to me. It has always rested on my decision to hold on to you. That is why you can move forward without fear. Not because every road will be easy, but because you will never walk it alone. When tomorrow arrives, remember that I am already there. When uncertainty stands before you, remember that it has never stood above me. When the voices of doubt return, remember the voice that has spoken to your heart throughout this day. The voice that has never condemned you. The voice that has never abandoned you. The voice that has patiently called you back. again and again. You do not need to carry every answer into the future. You only need to carry the assurance that I am faithful. When your strength feels small, lean on mine. When your understanding reaches its limit, trust my wisdom. When your heart grows tired, rest in my presence. When you cannot see the next step, simply continue walking with me. There will be days when you look back and suddenly understand why I asked you to wait. There will be moments when you recognize that what seemed like a delay was protecting you. There will be blessings that arrive so quietly you almost miss them. And there will be peace that settles into your soul so gently that you will realize I have been healing you all along. Never believe that your prayers disappear into silence. Every prayer is heard. Every tear is seen. Every moment you place in my hands has eternal value. I know your heart more completely than you know it yourself. I know the dreams you have not spoken aloud. I know the burdens you have hidden behind your smile. I know the hope that still flickers deep within you, even after seasons of disappointment. Guard that hope, not because it depends on your strength, but because I am the one who keeps breathing life into it. So walk into this day with a quieter heart, not because every question has been answered, but because you know who is walking beside you. Lift your eyes when fear tries to pull them downward. Be still when the world urges you to panic. Choose peace when anxiety asks you to hurry. And whenever you find yourself wondering what to do next, remember the gentle truth I have been whispering to your heart from the very beginning. I am with you. I have always been with you. I will always be with you. Rest in that truth. Live in that hope. And let your heart remain peacefully anchored in my unfailing love. Amen.